Hello, welcome back to the MLB DFS slate breakdown for June 13th. We got the main slate tonight. It is another Thursday, and we got another main slate. It is 7 games on tap. Should be a fun one, and before we jump into it, please like, comment, and subscribe to our videos. It helps us a ton just to improve our reach, and as always, everything that you get with the LineStar app, you're going to see here and much more. We got the props. We got multiple DFS tools to use as well. I just don't have time to go through them all every single day. Now, let's get into the slate. As always, we're going to start off by yesterday's lineups. Oh, and sorry, I did say it was a 7-game slate. It's a 7-game slate on FanDuel, 6 on DraftKings. DraftKings is going with the normal 7:10, 7:05 start time. Tonight it is 7:10 East Coast time. Now, the FanDuel starts at 3:50, 6:50 East Coast. All right, so perfect lineup. We got Sonny Gray, 2-man Mets, 2-man Yankees, 2-man Angels. Those 3 teams just really separated themselves, making for a pretty nice, perfect lineup. And the winning lineup went to GP Boss with Jose Soriano. We talked about him briefly yesterday. Definitely did not expect him to go 8 innings. One of the things I said is I don't love his upside, but if you have a lower K rate and you're able to go 8 innings, you can still get enough Ks to get it done. It was definitely an outlier performance by him, but congrats. He had a great day, and he brought this person winning lineup. They had the Yankees 4-man stack and then 4 one-offs. Nailed Neto, Candelario, Brendan Donovan, and Perez just did enough at the end of the game to get it done. So congrats to him, and let's move it on to DK. So the winning lineup, or perfect lineup on DraftKings, Sonny Gray, Bryce Miller, no surprise there. Both pitchers we were very high on. 2 Yankees, 2 Mets, 2 Angels. So very similar perfect lineups here. And then the winning lineup went to Jay Blake, the King, who won by 1 point. They had Miller, they had Gray, 2 chalky pitchers got it done. But then they had a 4-man Yankee stack and a 4-man Met stack. Both teams put up double digits. So when that happens, fairly easily to get 2 4-man stacks, towards the top of the leaderboard. Now let's get into today's slate. All right, starting with pitchers on DraftKings, highest owned, Luis Castillo. 32% owned. One of the things I got to bring up, we got a game total of only 6 in this game. White Sox versus Mariners, a 6-run total. Insanely low. I don't remember seeing one this low previously. I'm sure they've been. I just haven't seen one like that in a while. But you got to like Castillo in this spot versus the White Sox, who just frankly aren't very good. Strike out a decent amount, low WOBA, low ISO. He's way better at home. He hasn't been great over his last 5, but he faced Baltimore, the Yankees, the Astros, the Angels, and KC. So 5 pretty good offenses minus the Angels, who actually he did well at. He was also away for 3 of those games where he is better, almost 24% more fantasy points at home. His price is down, makes a ton of sense why Castillo is high owned and in a decent spot. Definitely got to consider playing him today. He is also the best value on the slate for LineStar. Next, we got Joe Ryan going against Oakland. Oakland just got crushed by the Padres in a 3-game sweep. They weren't able to do much offensively, and I would expect Joe Ryan keeps that role going. He's been pitching decent, 4.3 FIP, nothing to write home about, but 27% K rate, 3.77 FIP over his last 20. He does allow a lot of fly balls, but Oakland does have a pretty low WOBA versus righties. The only thing is they can hit the ball hard, 176 ISO over the last 150 games to righties. But they've been way worse in the short term, the last 20 games. 265 Woba, 125 ISO. That is awful. So I think Joe Ryan is definitely in an interesting spot. 27.4% combined K rate is pretty high, 2.3x. He is the second best value on DraftKings for LineStar today, tied with Griffin, but Griffin is only projected 11, so I'd much rather the 22. Garrett Crochet, 9.4K. This is a game total of 6. The only issue here is that he allows 58% less fantasy points at when he's away. So he is a very good pitcher, been pitching unreal, out of his mind lately. 1.88 FIP with a 34% K rate over his last 5 is just a very, very good spot to be. And on DraftKings, I think Crochet is definitely someone I would be looking to use, especially when he has a combined K rate of 29%. I would definitely be intrigued on him, and he's going a little bit lower owned. So on DK, I like him a lot. On FanDuel, his price is like 11K, and he's a little too pricey for me there. I just don't see that ceiling potential on FanDuel at that price. But being away at 9,400, I am intrigued with on DK. Luis Severino, 8K. If you want to go there, it's fine. It's a decent value at 2x. The only thing here is this is one of those situations where I think that the 3 high-owned guys are going to need to fail for him to really be optimal, or at least 2 of the 3. He just doesn't have near the upside of those 3 guys, and that is my one worry. K rate 20%. Over the last 5, only 16%. Combined K rate 19%. He's been pitching decent, fine to go there a little bit. I just don't love the upside there. Brandon Paft, I would way rather play, frankly. 3.77 FIP, 27% K rate over the last 5, 3.42 over the last 20, 26% K rate. Combined K rate's 24.5. I think there's way more upside here. It is a tougher matchup versus the Angels versus the Marlins, but I think Paft is also $600 more, and there's just more upside, and the value is very similar at 2x. Aaron Nola is in a very tough spot. We do have hitting weather in Boston. It's like 80 degrees, wind blowing out towards the green monster in left, and it just makes home runs a lot easier in that stadium when that is the case. A big pop fly to get over that green monster can easily go out with the wind blowing in double digits. So I think it is a tough spot for Nola. Can he get it done? Yes. He has 40% of ground balls, and I think that is what you need today to succeed in Boston is be a ground ball pitcher, and both the guys going are ground ball pitchers. But if they are not on their game and that ball is getting elevated a little bit more and guys are able to get the barrel on it with this hitting weather, it could be dangerous. So Nola is a little more risky than normal. He doesn't have, giant upside unless he's able to go 8 innings or so. And I think it's a tough spot for him to go 8. Tanner Huck, guy's been pitching unreal. And I think this is another spot that you can consider going. He is a ground ball pitcher too. 50% ground balls. Only 28% fly balls. If he's able to keep the ball on the ground versus the Phillies, he could have success in this situation. Just a reminder, it's good hitting weather, but there's a lot of good hitting weather on this slate, so it's going to be kind of hard to avoid, but the guy's been pitching unreal. 2.89 FIP over his last 20, 2.35 FIP over his last 5, 27% K rate over his last 5. Now, that last 5, it is guys that strike out a decent amount. Tampa Bay twice, Brewers, Detroit, White Sox, all of them can strike out. So that 27% number may be slightly elevated, but 24% over the last 20 still isn't bad. I'm fine if you want to get different and get some Huck. Roddery Muniz, can't go there. Don't mind some Met stacks. Griffin Canning, one, I can't really do it, but He does have upside to get it done. We've seen him get into the 30s in decent matchups. This is a decent matchup. Can it happen? Yes. Wouldn't totally write him off, but I don't love it. Medina, Lorenzen, Grove, meh. Gotta say that Grove has been coming out of the pen. He went 20 pitches 2 games ago. So he is an opener. He isn't going to pitch long. So he is a definite no-go for your starting pitcher spot today. Getting over to FanDuel. What do we got here? So we do have the extra game. We have the Cubs and Tampa Bay Rays on this game. So we got to, mention that. And with that, we have a couple extra starters to talk about. Luis Castillo, still highest owned, 9.9K. Totally fine. I think he is in the best spot today. Don't mind going there whatsoever. Joe Ryan is next, 27% owned. He is still fine. Next, Garrett Crochet, 11K. His price is way higher on DraftKings. I think 23% owned might be a little high for him in this spot because he is away, averaging 46.5% less fantasy points when away. That's a little bit rough when you consider that he is 11,000. So I don't love the spot for him here with it being in Seattle, but at least it is a pitcher-friendly park that should help him a little bit. I just think 11K is a lot when you can go to Castillo, who's 1,000 less. Joe Ryan is up there too. I might rather Crochet than Ryan when their prices are so similar, but I think Ryan projects well for us and for most systems, and he is slightly less expensive. Huck is super interesting to me at 10.5. Severino, 9,500, too expensive. Now Justin Steele, I'm actually pretty intrigued with. It is at a pitcher-friendly park. It's versus the Rays. Rays strike out at 26%. They do hit lefties decent. 325 WOBA is solid. But I think Steele is starting to figure it out this season. He has a 3.45 FIP over his last 5, 24% K rate. I'm a little intrigued to get different and go to Justin Steele in this spot. 25% K rate, or combined K rate. I'm intrigued. I know the Rays are a decent offense. They can get it done. They have a decent WOBA, decent ISO. But Steele's a solid pitcher. The one worry is he's just allowing a lot of fly balls, but that shouldn't be that much of a worry in this ballpark as they don't allow as many home runs. Brandon Paft, I think, is totally in the rotation as a possible pitcher today. 3.77 FIP versus 4.6 ERA versus all good offenses. I think regression to the positive could come here. So I definitely am a bit intrigued on Paft going totally unowned. Now, getting over to DraftKings, let's check out some stacks. Oh, you know who we did not cover pitching-wise? Taj Bradley, who should be going for the Rays today. I'm a little intrigued on him. He has big-time upside at a price that isn't too high. So I think in the K department, he can compete with the Castillos and Crochets on this slate. So I think he's at least interesting. All right, best value on the slate. We got White Sox and Miami, both at 2.3x. White Sox versus Castillo, I don't love that spot, but it is a leverage stack because Castillo is going super high owned, especially on FanDuel where he's pushing 40%. Severino versus Miami, I'm fine getting a little Miami there. I wouldn't go overboard. There is nice wind blowing out in New York today. Boston's popping up versus Nola. This one's intriguing to me just because of the fact it's hitting weather in Fenway. And when we have this kind of hitting weather in Fenway, kind of acts like a Coors Field. So definitely a little intrigued there. Now our highest owned stacks. Arizona versus Griffin Canyon. Really can't say I'm not surprised. 5.4 FIP over the last 5, 5.7 over the last 20. He hasn't been very good. Arizona has had some solid hitting games lately. Been on a little bit of a roll. I don't mind some Arizona whatsoever. And then the highest projected, we got the Dodgers versus Michael Lorenzen. He has a FIP of 4 over the last 5, 5.41 over the last 20. You don't see him really get blown up that much, but he gives up, 3-4 runs, whatever, all the time. So I don't mind going to Lorenzen, but just with the price of the Dodgers stack, I think it's going to be really hard to fit him in on this slate. 3 best pitchers, or really 4 best pitchers, are all kind of pricey. It's going to be hard to fit all the studs in a stack, so I'm kind of leaning to more 2-3 man Dodger stacks than full 5-1, even though we have them projecting the best. It's just the price that makes it a little hard to get to them. And check out the ceiling before clicking everything else. And highest ceiling, Dodgers for sure. Boston is also popping up. I do think Boston's pretty interesting in this slate versus Nola. Obviously, you never want to have your stack face Nola, but there's some hitting weather, and they are a bit of a pesky offense. Now, the highest FIP over the last 20, Rodri Munez, 803. It's only been a couple starts, so it's really only been the last 5, but that FIP is insanely high. He wasn't that good in the minors either, so I think this is real, and I think the Mets are probably going under-owned as a stack. While I think 8 is probably pretty insane, he is probably the worst pitcher on this slate. So stacking the Mets and having them not be the highest owned stack is kind of surprising to me. Not only that, we also have nice weather in New York to hit the ball. So definitely a bit intriguing there. Now, highest implied run total, we got Dodgers at 5, Mets at 4.8, Arizona at 4.7. All 3 of those are in a good spot. Twins been hitting the ball really nicely lately, and Medina is allowing 42% hard contact, 91% average exit velocity. I think Minnesota is very interesting. Boston and Philadelphia, both at 4.3 implied runs. Great hitting weather in Boston today, so absolutely intrigued there. Texas, it's a bullpen game for the Dodgers. There's going to be a long reliever. It's probably Yarborough. I haven't looked into it, and I'm just saying Yarborough because I know he is kind of a guy that comes in long relief a little bit, But regardless, the Dodgers bullpen has been good, and most of the time you're going to have guys coming in advantage situations versus Texas. So I don't absolutely love trying to pick on the bullpen game, but you could do worse than doing that. And then bottom 3 are all leverage stacks. If you want to go there, it is a game theory play only. All right, guys, that will do it for us today. Have a good one. We will be back tomorrow. Peace.